Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Rahul Bhatia, Digital Finance Architect and S4HANA Solution Architect. Today I'm going to talk about a very important topic which is very crucial in any S4HANA implementation. As you know, SAP has set a mandate for organizations to move to SAP S4HANA by 2027. It is evident that organizations must make a move towards SAP S4HANA. But this move should not be just a technical move, rather, it should be a strategic move for organizations where they are going to think about moving their data from ECC to S4HANA. Today, I have the pleasure of inviting Gaurav Sharma, who's a expert in AI and digital integrity and data expert. He will basically talk about ECC to SAP S4HANA migration as well. And we will basically touch base on this topic from implementation to post go live as well. So, Gaurav, welcome on this podcast.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you very much. Always great to join the conversation. Those moves out beyond the buzzword, right? So, what's
Absolutely.
happened in reality, that's always excited for everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So Gaurav, as you know, this topic is very critical, right, in any transformation program. So when organizations think about moving from ECC or any source system towards SAP S/4HANA, data integrity plays a key part, right? We need to ensure that the data quality is up to 100%. And today organizations are facing tremendous challenges in terms of migration as well. It is important to note, and I need your view here, that organizations must ensure that the data is loaded right first time in the target structure. If we do not map the data correctly, there are always chances that something will go wrong in the extraction or the transformation of data when we are loading the data in the target system. So, what is your experience has been, Gaurav?
Uh, yeah, I would tell you what I have been experiencing in last 5 to 8 years, right, with the clients. As you correctly said, extraction, transformation, loading. It's three simple keywords, but nowadays when the systems are complex, specifically in ERP solutions like ECC to S4HANA, we all know SAP clients are moving from ECC to S4HANA because of a lot of good reasons. But there is a big devil or things to taken care. I would say we need to make sure the data is coming correct. Right? From ECC, data was sitting good. They were doing good, but eventually, when you move from one system to another system, you need to make sure your data is clean, your data is valid, right? There's no transformation. Transformation happened correctly,
Yeah.
so because that drives your business impact a lot.
Yes, absolutely.
That is very crucial. Data is the key for any migration.
Absolutely. And Gaurav, it goes without saying, right? Data is as you rightly said, data is the key to any migration. I always say to my customers and clients that data is the heart of any transformation program because your journey starts, your processes start with the help of data only. Any target process that we execute in the target system is based on data only. So it's just not a technical migration, it's also a data migration that we need to emphasize and focus on, right? So.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with that.
no, very good insight, Gaurav. One thing, Gaurav, I would want to call out is because we are moving to SAP S/4HANA and SAP has set this mandate that by 2027 organizations must move from ECC to S/4HANA. What do you think that organizations will need to do prior to making this move? What are the key essentials that they should keep in mind when they think of moving the data from one system to another? So, with this mandate being set as 2027, which is very close, I think in 2 years' time, how much time do you think organizations need to decide to move their data to SAP S/4HANA?
$1 million question, Rahul. $1 million question for enterprises. Daily, I'm sure you and me and more other experts in this enterprise, we're still tackling. Daily, I challenge myself
Yeah.
with a bunch of expert people for different clients, even though, right, when should we do migration? What is the exact time to do, right? They have to, or they shouldn't. All these questions are going around, right? In between every CEO, program director, ERP specialist, consultants like me, professionals like you, right? We all are curious about this. So, and which makes fair sense as well. It's a impact is going to be in million and trillion dollars in some communities, right? In some enterprises. So, first, I would say enterprise leaders and enterprise stakeholders, they need to understand, are they ready for the migration? That's a
Mhm.
very prep step I always mention.
Absolutely.
If they are, so when we say ready, because in ECC, we all we all were doing business as usual, right?
Yeah.
We are happy, we are doing this, but change always come with some reservations and some challenges.
Very well.
So enterprise need to sit back, relax, and see, are we ready? If yes, when? When I'm saying are and when these two questions asked, right? So which means we can migrate at the time when your business as usual is not well, I mean, very much impacted,
Hmm.
right? Uh, it is not ideal case to migrate your system into the production when there is a Thanksgiving demand,
Yes.
when there is Christmas, right? When there is a demand for your business, even if you are in retail, your consumer goods, your manufacturing, you need to see where it is, right?
Yeah.
So, for an example of any consumer goods product or client, did, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas is not the right time because at that time your current system, is already at the peak and going through the stress testing, right? Load testing because there's, and you don't want to have a impact on your dollar revenue. No, nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So that's how I say when, right? So plan accordingly, what you have, and then when you want to plan. Now ECC is going to be depreciated. It's a any like any other software in last 1 decade. You can see every software or company, enterprise solutions, they upgrade themselves with the bigger, efficient capabilities into the system.
Yeah.
So we all know ECC to S4 HANA, cloud-based solutions, more AI integrated solutions within SAP HANA,
Yeah.
and also there are third-party tools vendors which can be integrated to that. So there's
Absolutely.
so much good things coming up, which industries can take care and leverage those for the business profit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my answer. You need to
Now,
plan, when are you ready and when you wanted to migrate.
Now, very well said, Gaurav. I love that insight from you. I think you touched a very key point there, which is basically organizations resist change. I think it's easy to say we will move from one system to another, but change comes with resistance, right? I mean, people and we as humans, we as experts, when we are doing something in our day-to-day jobs, if somebody tells us that you have to tomorrow change your way of working, organizations and resources or people, they hesitate to make okay, what will be the impact when they go to the new system? How will they use the data into the new system, or how will their role be impacted when they migrate to the new system? So I feel what you are touching is a very good or key important point in any transformation program. Having said that, Gaurav, I also want to call out, um, when we think about migration, we always talk about we have to cleanse the data, because data cleansing is something that needs to happen upfront, right? Before you actually transform the data. So when we have extracted the data, so in ECC days, Gaurav, as you probably will recall, and some customers are still on ECC that we are supporting and working on, they are still basically using tools such as LSMW, the old ways of loading the data, or BDC, to record the transactions and load the data into the system. SAP S/4HANA has got new tools now with the help of AI. You also have embedded AI into the system, such as Joule. Joule helps you basically redesign the whole database architecture. You also have basically the migration cockpit, which has all the SAP objects that are relevant for migration. How do you see that organizations, when they are moving to SAP S/4HANA, how should they start utilizing these tools? Should they actually think about cleansing upfront now, because the ECC, as you rightly said, ECC is going to be depreciated in 2 years' time? Should the organizations already plan a change management towards SAP S/4HANA, or they should basically plan this migration in stages? What is your view on that?
Okay, thank you. As you rightly said, that's what the point we were discussing before this one.
Yeah,
New capabilities, new systems, new integrated systems coming into SAP S4 HANA, right? Dual migration cockpit. These are the things which empower your enterprise to go to the next level in the business, right?
yeah,
These tools
yeah,
are helping tools, right? For anything, like you have a screwdriver to fix something.
yeah,
So we all know these are the tools. These are not the business, but these are the tools to uplift your business.
yeah,
Now, with these tools and cockpit feature and AI driven as well, I also, and I'll come back to your question as well, but I would also like to add, I saw that in SAP 2025 decade,
yeah,
they also introduced the AI robots. So all the robot in manufacturing unit, maybe some consumer goods manufacturing, their systems,
Yeah.
they are helping in scanning the goods, moving the goods from here and there. If it is manufacturing, they're helping in manufacturing. So all those embodied AI data is coming into the S4 HANA system,
Yeah.
right? So if you are introducing AI robot, and then those robots are gonna send you data which is coming into your SAP HANA system,
Yeah.
and there you just name tools and migration cockpit. They have to also somewhere uh, grab that data, digest
Hmm.
it, make sure they process it, and
Yeah.
maybe you are a finance expert, right? So maybe in going to the finance side, maybe it's going to prediction side, right? It's going to supply chain management, right? Invoice generation, document
Yes.
generation. Now think about this: if the embodied AI robot is scanning an item number barcode, right? And that barcode is scanned, and while coming into the S4HANA, there is one decimal added or two decimal deleted, right? Think about that.
Mhm.
Because in somewhere in the system, extraction, transformation, loading, we all are humans. We are rounding up, or any system, Oracle,
Yeah.
GCP, any system
Yes.
rounding it up, and you are not getting the exact data, then it is going to impact your financial reports. It is going to impact the invoice generation summary, right? Your document number. If your document number is tied somewhere to that barcode, your document number generation is not going to be correct. There are chances that I have seen that when we migrated the data,
Yeah.
some of the customer numbers are missing.
Absolutely.
Can
Yes.
you imagine? So for an industry which has a great stakeholders are the customer and in the production system, if the customer numbers are missing, you're gonna lose a lot of revenue because the deliveries will be delayed, right? All those kind of stuff. Now, when you're migrating, these are the things we should take care. We need to make sure at each and every point. This is my favorite statement I mentioned in multiple sessions. Every gate you need to have a gate checkpoint. You're moving from ECC master data
Yeah.
to the S4 HANA. In between, whatever the systems are coming, if those are QA systems,
Yeah.
then dev systems,
Hmm.
and then going to the production, every gate checkpoint you need to do a data integrity. So
Absolutely.
make sure 2 plus 2 is coming into system 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And there are multiple ways to do the data integrity check. For one of my client, I actually framed one of the framework, data DIERP.
Hmm.
It's an AI powered framework. So
Hmm.
basically, it evaluates from the master data to all the supply chain systems,
Yeah.
going all the way around to the finance department, that each and every material number, customer number, document generations, they're aligned and data integrity check.
Yes.
That's the key, I would say. To cut in short for this one, I would say data integrity at each and every gate is the key to make sure, okay, my data is good. Now I can migrate it.
Absolutely. Got a very beautiful insight there. I think you touched on the big five objects in SAP, customers, materials. I love the insight there because I also correlate with this. Most of the challenges we are facing in terms of migrations from source system to the target system are related to these issues only. I think it is important to note, as you brought the example, if the customer numbers are not matching, where you have an invoice on the old customer number, and when you migrate to SAP, you are basically having a different customer and generated. The customer will not recognize their number, right? They only deal with the business based on the old number. So I think it's always a challenge. There are ways how do we transform this data. That's why we emphasize to customers and organizations, please make sure you do cleanse your data in time, you do sanity checks, and you have some KPIs, what kind of data you want to migrate to SAP,
Right.
because it is just not for like for like. When an organization thinks about migrating data, right, you do think about what are the KPIs I want to use to migrate this data. So for example, when it comes to transactional data, organizations are hesitant that should they migrate their all their transactional data or the tax information, because as you know, tax information is a very sensitive data, right, for organizations, such as for IFRS or US GAAP, for example. This data must be migrated very carefully into to the target structure. You don't want tax to be recalculated at the time of migration, right? Because if an organization has already paid some VAT for the business partners or for the customers and vendors in the source system, you would want to calculate the same tax into the target system without recalculation. So, this is a burning topic in organizations. And I think we always emphasize to our customers and clients that, guys, please make sure that you do emphasize and check your data sanity upfront and find some KPIs, what kind of data you want to migrate. What is your view, Gaurav, on this when it comes to KPI definition?
I'll tell you my excuse me. I'll tell you my view, but I was smiling because you touched the point which even sometimes I feel like those are the hidden areas, tax calculation, right?
Yes.
Um, some system built up on tax, some other, maybe another state.
Yeah.
Every state has its own other tax slabs, right?
Yeah.
So those are the real things which sometimes impact, and nobody knows until you get an impact. So glad you touched that area. So yes, so as you mentioned, it impacts the finance as well. All the GL entries would be disturbed, right?
Absolutely.
And when by the time when just a small I would not say mistake, let's say the small change in the data or small bug in the data, it starts from the very beginning. You never know how much it is going to impact the related objects.
Yeah.
We know it's a complex system, every system tied to maybe 50, 40, 100 another items, another objects. By the time it's disturbing your GL entries, it is impacting your reports, it's reaching out to CFO level, and that's where the organizations come, wow, why did we do migration, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the migration, guys, it's the process of the migration.
Absolutely.
Migrations, we all know it's good to adapt the new features of the software or the tool.
Yeah.
That's the need of an hour. You
Absolutely.
cannot stay. See, if I tell you today, you know why you upgraded your Windows. It should be 2004, 2003, 2004, right, Rahul? Rahul would say, no, we cannot do that because Windows 2011, 2004 don't have all these features which you
Features.
need today, day, a day and night, right? We cannot live with that. So, yes, organizations should migrate to SAP S4 HANA, and much more coming up, but they need to plan. It's the process of migration and the planning which will decide the successful migration
Yeah.
or the migration with some challenges.
Absolutely. Gaurav, very again, I'm actually loving it what you are actually touching on, because these are some critical areas, organizations actually focus on, they miss to call out when, when we are talking about migration. You must have also witnessed, Gaurav, and based on my experience, I'll tell you, being in the industry for 2 decades now, what I have noticed is that most of the SIs I've worked with, most of the companies I've worked with or system integrators I've been with, they always emphasize that it's like for like migration. I've seen that, data migration, we don't give too much attention, or I should say, it's a hidden gem in the transformation where nobody actually focuses too much on. They think that everything will be hunky dory, or just migrate
Right.
straight away from source system to the target system. That is not true. And I think we as architects, we as the system owners, we as the system experts are responsible for making sure our customers get the visibility and transparency what data we are migrating for them. And as you also touched on, I think your second answer was regarding quality gates. You gave a very touching point there, an important one, that we should have quality gates established at the time of migration, right? So every system should have a quality gate. I do want to call out, Gaurav. in one of the clients, we did define some quality gates, and now wherever we are working on and wherever I'm architecting, I'm actually making sure there is a preload validation and a post-load sign-off as well from business. And I'm sure
Wow.
you're smiling on this because I know you know the
Yeah,
point what I'm making.
yeah.
It's evident that organizations now must take responsibility of their own data, right? We as system architects are responsible for making sure technically everything works, but also organizations have to now play a key part in migration, and that's why we implemented a strategy called preload migration and post-load sign off as well, where organizations own the data, they sign off the data, and then once we have loaded the data, they validate the data. So what is your experience on this strategy?
So this is very great, like pre-production and post-production, right? Data. So because people need to understand here the industry. Some of them they are, but what happening is with the new migration processes and the systems, they're a little bit changed from the legacy one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's understand that. So one, the schemas, they are going to change. The objects, maybe new more objects, they're going to be introduced in this ERP system, right?
Yes.
We need extensions, extendability. We all from our graduations, post graduations, build a software with the extendability, right? You need to extend. That's what every enterprise solution is doing. That's what SAP HANA is about, right? So we are extending the capability for these ERP systems.
Yeah.
Now, when, like you mentioned, pre-production, post-production data, I'm totally aligned with you. First of all, I have seen this. Let me share this on this. Um, in the quality engineering, right? People who are validating the data, pre-production, post-production, doing a data integrity, they were following their architecture, how to do a data integrity tools using the DI ERP framework, which I designed in for my team, and they were implementing it. But we found there is a discrepancy in data. We did a root cause analysis, Rahul, and I tell you, the root cause analysis told that in the master data
Yeah.
database, they did not refresh the data.
Yeah.
So what happened is in the master database in the system, it was 5 years old, and they were doing some enhancement in the production, and
Hmm.
because there's a multiple integration of the systems,
Yeah.
right? So eventually, in reality, the replica of the production system data was totally different from what they were having in the master for testing and all that stuff,
Okay.
right? So now you are testing and doing the quality engineering, data integrity framework, and validating, cleansing the data on the master data, but that's not the real mirror, real replica of what you have in production.
In the production system,
So
correct.
you need to refresh your master data within in-house,
Yes.
the same replica which you have in production. Now, very, very important point I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you. When we talk about production,
Hmm.
20 years ago, it was one production system were generic.
Yeah.
Now, today, where we are in globalization, companies which are global, they have different production system data in China.
Yeah.
They have different production system data in US, in
Yes.
India, in Japan, in Australia, all the way.
Yes.
So my point is now you don't say production, you say production A, B,
Product
C,
B.
and D.
Yes. Yes. We categorize them. Yes.
Right? We all customize all our SAP HANA, ECC. We customize for China. We customize for you, like you said, text, right?
Yeah.
Texting, financing. You have different set of rules, different set of stored procedures for China system, for US, for India, for anywhere.
Hmm.
So we have different set of production. You need to make sure your in-house system where you're doing the quality engineering, where you're testing your transports, where you're testing your data integrity, you need to make sure for what or which production system you want it to do. If
Yes.
you are targeting the production A, get the replica of that,
Yeah.
change it, okay, deploy that, right?
Absolutely.
If you're doing something which is common to production A, B, C, D, then do that, and that's it. I think
Absolutely.
that's the key where where people are
No,
missing.
Gaurav, you're absolutely spot on there. I think it's important what you call out. The data refreshment should happen very regularly, or I should say frequently, or in real time when we are performing testing. Because at the time of migration, you do not want to basically test with the data that is not real, right? Ultimately, for organizations, the production system plays the single source of truth. And as you know, we live in a multi-tier landscape, whether it's a two-tier landscape, dev or quality, or dev or production, or the three-tier landscape where dev, quality, and production comes into picture. There are different instances of these systems. So I think for data migration point of view, Gaurav, at least I have noticed in organizations where we have architected, I have advised businesses that please have a three-tier landscape where you can actually do a data migration in parallel to where your actual landscape actually lives. So for example, if you're doing a migration into production, always make sure there is a dress rehearsal happening in a parallel client. So apart from production system, you should have a parallel system, which is a replica of your production system, where you can actually perform a dress rehearsal prior to the production cutover. So I think it's important what you call out, and I'm sure organizations who are thinking or which are actually thinking of moving to SAP S/4HANA by 2027 will actually look at these insights what we have shared today with me. And I think this was beautiful podcast, Gaurav, to invite you and to have this conversation with you, because these kind of conversations really are important for us to have and bring transparency and visibility to organizations, because everybody is now focusing on transformation and AI. As you know, AI is playing a key part. We as sole experts, we as individuals, we as experts in of the systems are responsible for driving this change for organizations. So the message from you is really helpful, and I'm sure organizations or anybody watching this podcast will actually appreciate what we have shared today. So thank you, Gaurav,
Thank
for
you,
the lovely
Rahul.
insights today.
I am truly obliged here. I'm actually honored to be part of this podcast. And thank you, Rahul. It's been great discussing as you are another transformational leader I
Thank you.
am in touch with. And it's always good, me being more into technical. I wanted to hear the finance side, finance experts of ERP solutions. It's always good to connect. Thank you very
Absolutely,
much.
Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye bye.